Good morning students. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic. The name of the topic is microbes in sewage treatment. Okay. So to start with, what is sewage? Before going into the topic, we should know what is sewage. So what is sewage? The municipal waste water including human excreta is called as what? We call it as sewage. So municipal waste water, the domestic waste, in that the major composition is what? The human excreta. So that one we call it as what? We call it as a sewage. Okay. And when you are seeing the sewage, it contains a large amount of organic matter. So what is present in it? It contains a very large amount of organic matter and it contains numerous amount of microorganisms. And what is the dangerous part of it is that most of these microorganisms are pathogenic in nature. You know what is pathogenic? They are disease causing in nature. And it is very important that we have to treat this sewage before it is being disposed into the water bodies. So this wastewater is going to get disposed into the water bodies, isn't it? So before disposing into the water bodies, first we have to treat it. Okay. So that is what we are going to discuss today. Treatment of sewage. Okay. So hence, when you are seeing the sewage is treated where? It is treated in plants called as sewage treatment plants. So near the water bodies, like you can find near the rivers, near the sea, they are constructing like this setup. Okay, this plant means sewage treatment plants, STPs, we usually use it. So STPs are constructed, and what is the function of this? They are treating the sewage which before it is being disposed into the water bodies. Okay, as you know, and for this they are usually using the microorganism which is already present in them. So there are useful microorganisms also, they are making use of the same and they are helping in treating the sewage. Now this treatment, when you are seeing, they are taking place in two stages. Okay, so there are two steps in treating the sewage. The step 1 is called as the primary treatment and the step 2 is called as the secondary treatment. This primary treatment, the step 1, can also be called as physical treatment. Here we are not going to use any microorganism, only a physical process. The step 2, we call it as biological treatment. Why? Because the microorganisms are being used, living organisms are used. That's why the secondary treatment is also called as what? The biological treatment. So moving on to the first treatment is the primary treatment. As I have already said, only physical processes are involved. Okay. So it involves physical removal of particles, whether it is large or whether it is small, that has to be removed. Okay. So how it is removed? It is removed with the help of a process called as what? Filtration. Okay. If I show you the diagram, it will be much clearer. See, here this part is the primary treatment and this part is the secondary treatment. Okay. So this primary treatment, you can find 3 screens, isn't it? So these screens are acting like filters. The raw sewage which is coming, okay, from the municipal, from the places it is coming, these raw sewage is being screened by, filtered by the screens. Okay. So this is wire mesh like structure. So like in a funnel, when you want to filter, how you are going to filter it? You keep a filter paper, you pour the water and slowly you can find the filter paper is collecting the particles that are present in the water, the debris are collected. Here also the same, the screens are acting as filters. So filtration is carried out. Okay. So the larger particles get clogged up there and it is periodically cleaned. Okay. So like that, filtration is the first step in the primary treatment. Next, moving on to the second step is that they are being allowed to settle down in a tank called as the settling tank, where the sedimentation process is going to take place. So this water is allowed to settle down for some time. So when it is allowed to settle down for some time, you can find the particles that are bigger in sizes, the grit particles, the soil particles, slowly what they will be doing, they will be settling it down. Okay. So the settled down particles, we call it as the primary sludge. So what do we call them? We call it as the primary sludge. And the top you can find the water which is getting collected, that one we call it as the effluent. Okay. So one is the primary sludge and the second one is the effluent. Okay. I repeat, see, listen carefully ma. So what is primary sludge and what is effluent? So here in the settling tank, so this is the settling tank, particles are settling down at the bottom. This settled part we call it as primary sludge. Okay. On the top, whatever is present, we call it as the effluent. What do we call that? Effluent. The supernatant, the top one which is getting collected is the effluent. Primary sludge, we are leaving it, we are taking it and disposing it in the soil and leaving it to degrade. And the effluent which is present on the top, that effluent is only allowed to move into the next treatment, which we call it as what? The secondary treatment. As I have already said, the secondary treatment, when you are seeing, it is biological in nature, microorganisms are used. So in the primary treatment, what were the two processes? One is filtration and the second one is sedimentation. Hope it is clear. Now we are moving into the next part, that is the secondary treatment. Very important. Okay, here we are going to learn a new term, biological oxygen demand or biochemical oxygen demand. Okay, yeah. So in the secondary treatment, what is happening? So in the secondary treatment, you can find the water, the effluent is pumped into a tank called as aeration tank. Okay, so in this aeration tank, when you are seeing, air is continuously given, this agitated, mechanically agitated air supply is given. So this effluent which is coming here is rich in organic matter. Okay, along with that there are much amount of microbes. Okay, so these microbes, and when they are getting air, they are very happy, they are eating up, multiplying, increasing the number, organic matter is there, food is there, so they go on multiplying and they are eating up all the organic matters which are present in the effluent. Okay, so before, when you are seeing, microorganisms were there, organic matter were there, but this microbes to live, they need oxygen, that much was not there. Now the demand for oxygen was very, very high in the beginning. Now what happened, when I am supplying air, the demand for oxygen has become very less because oxygen is available. Microorganism is using the oxygen, they are using the oxygen, multiplying in number, they are having the food, they are eating, multiplying, you can find the demand for oxygen is coming down, organic matter is gradually reducing, it has reduced to a much extent. So all the organic matter, the waste which was present, is degraded by this aerobic microbes. Okay, so the aerobic microbes are degrading all these organic matter, and you can find they are forming, these organic matter are settling down, and the bacteria, fungi which are growing and eating up, they are forming a mesh-like structure. That mesh-like structure we call it as flocks. You can find a structure like this mesh-like structure we call it as flocks. It is a collection of bacteria and fungal filaments. Okay, so that is happening where? In the aeration tank, you can find that is taking place. Okay, so after which, then this aeration tank, when you are seeing, what they are doing is that they are letting it to settle down for some time. So in this, pumped into another settling tank, wherein when you are seeing here, organic debris are already settled. Now this one is, water is being pumped into this tank, another aeration tank, settling tank. So what is actually happening is that all these bacteria, when you are seeing, slowly they have food and all is over, right? Flocks and all are coming down and they are getting settled down. So where they are getting settled down, they are getting settled down at the bottom. Okay, so some amount of flocks, when you are seeing, it is taken, pumped into this aeration tank. Why is the question? Okay, why it is being pumped into this aeration tank? Because next time also the effluent will be coming here, isn't it? So this effluent, when next time it is coming here, already what is present? I have from here, what I have given some bacteria and fungi. So they are ready, come on, the organic matter is coming, again they are ready to digest. Already it is present in the sewage. Along with that, here as an inoculum, we are putting much amount of bacteria and fungi. From here it is collected and it is put over here, so that what you can do is that this inoculum is acting as a starter for the, again, the degradation to take place. Okay, the multiplication to take place. Okay, so in the aeration tank, what we have done, the effluent is coming, organic matter is digested by aerobic microbes, the demand for oxygen was more beginning, but when this organic matter gradually came down and the air was supplied, the demand for oxygen became very, very less. Now when the oxygen demand is less, means the air, the water has become to some extent good, okay, good in nature. Then this water is pumped where? Into the next settling tank, where the flocks slowly when you are seeing are getting settled down. The remaining water, when you are seeing, it is flocks are settled down, the remaining water is passed into the water bodies by adding some disinfectant. Okay, And in this the one which is getting settled down here, okay. So this settled down one we call it as activated sludge. What do we call them? Activated sludge, okay. The flocks as well as the organic debris which are getting settled down here, we call it as what? The activated sludge. Some amount of these flocks are collected from here, and where it is given? It is given into the aeration tank. How it is acting as? It is acting as an inoculum. The other things, the rest of the things, the activated sludge, it is being collected, and where it is being put, it is put into another tank. That tank we call it as anaerobic sludge digester. What do we call them? Anaerobic sludge digester. So what is done in this anaerobic sludge digester? In the anaerobic sludge digester, the activated sludge are taken and it has been put over here, okay. Now what is this anaerobic sludge digester? As the name suggests, it is anaerobic, which means oxygen is not present. So in the anaerobic condition, anaerobic microorganisms, when you are seeing, they will be multiplying. So they are eating up the aerobic microbes, and all flocks and all are dying, they are coming down. All the organic matter which and all was present is being digested by whom? This anaerobic microorganisms or heterotropic microorganisms are digesting all these things, and they are releasing gas, okay. So what gas they are releasing? They are releasing a gas which combines, when you are seeing methane, okay, hydrogen sulfide, like that combination, sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, methane, everything, major composition is methane will be present, and this gas we call it as what? The biogas. This biogas is collected and this can be used as a fuel, okay. So biogas in the anaerobic sludge digester can be used as a fuel, clear. The rest of the thing, when you are seeing, the rest part which is left over at the bottom, that can be used as a manure. So like this, the wastewater is being used in the production of fuel, it is used in the production of manure, as well as the wastewater is treated and it is pumped into the water bodies, so that it is safe for the people to drink. So I will sum it up just with the help of the diagram. Listen carefully. So what is happening in the primary treatment? As I have already said, filtration and sedimentation, okay. So filtration is taking place, water is filtered. Next, what is happening? The sedimentation. All the settled things we call it as what? The primary sludge. The effluent is passed into the secondary. Here aeration, okay, flocks are formed, okay. So here what is happening? The oxygen, biochemical oxygen demand is slowly coming down, clear. And thereafter what is happening? You can find the leftover things are being pumped into the next settling tank, clear. Here all these flocks and all slowly they are getting settled down over here. The rest of the water is collected and it is pumped into the river bodies or the water bodies by adding some disinfectant. Some amount of these, the one which is getting settled down here, we call it as what? The activated sludge. In this activated sludge, some amount of the flocks is pumped back into the aeration tank, which is acting as an inoculum. I told you again, when the organic matter loaded effluent is coming for digestion, it is needed, okay. And the rest of the one activated sludge is pumped into another tank, what we call it as what? The anaerobic sludge digester, okay. So in the anaerobic sludge digester, anaerobic microbes are present. So these anaerobic microbes, what they are doing? They are digesting the flocks which are present over there, and they are releasing gases, okay. That gas we call it as what? We call them as the biogas, and the leftover part which and all are present over here is acting as a manure. So by sewage treatment we are benefited, okay. So we will just see the secondary treatment. So the primary effluent is passed into aeration tank, constantly agitated mechanically, okay. So aerobic microbes are multiplying and it is converted into flocks, okay. Fungal filaments with bacteria, we call it as flocks. So the next step is that while growing, microbes, what they do? They consume the organic matter, and BOD, biochemical oxygen demand, will be going down. So what is BOD? It refers to the amount of oxygen that would be consumed if all the organic matter in 1 liter of water were oxidized by bacteria, which means that I am taking 1 liter of water, in that how much amount of organic matter are present, that is being consumed by using how much amount of oxygen, that is called as what? Biological oxygen demand. If more amount of organic matter is present, then the demand for oxygen will be more. Okay, more time it will take for digesting all those organic matter, the demand will be more. So if more BOD, which means that the water is more polluted, it contains more amount of organic matter. If it is less BOD, which means the water is less polluted, the demand for oxygen is very less. Okay, so once the BOD in aeration tank, what we are doing, oxygen is given, BOD is reduced, and this is allowed to move into the settling tank. There the bacterial flocks and all are slowly settling down and forming what, activated sludge. Okay, and small part of the activated sludge we are putting it into again into the aeration tank, as I already said, as acting as what, they are acting as inoculants. The remaining part, when you are seeing, it is being transferred to anaerobic sludge digester, that activated sludge. Okay, there anaerobic bacteria, they digest all these flocks, debris, and they release the gas. The name of the gas is what, the biogas. Okay, they are producing methane, hydrogen sulfide, carbon dioxide is the composition of what, the biogas, which can be used as a fuel. Okay, it's highly inflammable, so it can be used as a fuel, and the rest of the part at the bottom, which and all is settling down, we are using it as manure. So in the next topic we will be discussing about biogas production. That's all for today. Stay home, stay safe. Thank you.